Listen to Philippians 4:19. Paul is saying this in response to a church that sent him a love offering. And he sends this thank you note. And then he gives this marvelous promise that has been used by God's children for over 2,000 years. Listen to what he says. My God will meet all your needs, some say supply all your needs, according to his glorious riches in Christ Jesus. To our God and Father be glory forever and ever. Amen. Here, Paul has received this love gift. He's in prison. He's not gaining employment. He's up against it. This is the only church that sent him an offering. Because when you were in a Roman prison, you had to feed yourself. You had to pay people to bring you food, or if the saints didn't show up, he was totally dependent on God helping him through God's people. But listen to this promise he makes to a giving church. You met one of my needs. My God is going to supply all of yours. You sent your gift to me by Epaphroditus. God will meet your need through his Son, Jesus Christ. You met one, God's going to meet all. God is going to supply. I used to write this on a little sheet of paper on a little Royal portable typewriter. When I was first married, I went through college on a typewriter, and I used to write all my bills every month at the top of this little sheet, and I would write, God's Bank for Bankrupt Christians. I had hardly no money, and when I got married, it sure enough was broke. But my dear wife, she worked. I painted. We did whatever, but we were barely making it. But I'd put my bills there, and I would write, God's supply, God's resources for bankrupt Christians. Let me say this. God has said he will supply the needs. He did not say your greeds. He said your needs. And when we trust him and look to him as our provider, this is what J. Hudson Taylor said, I will go to China not counting on any resources from anyone. And eventually the London Missionary Society cut him off because he started dressing like the Chinese, and he let his hair grow out like the Chinese. They disapproved of it. God supplied his needs. And eventually 1,200 people joined him in China. George Mueller said, I could run an orphanage on this one promise. My God will supply our need. He loves orphans. He loves boys and girls, and I don't have the money to feed them. And eventually he's feeding 1,000 a day on a promise. God can supply our needs. God can supply. And I think that promise, when I had nothing else in my own life to pay the bills, it was this promise. When I first started this church, my father said, what are you going to work at? You got to get a job. Your wife's expecting another baby. And eventually, I don't mean to be arrogant, and there's other ways of doing it. I simply said, Father, I've been preparing and preaching for nearly 10 years now. If God can't supply my needs, praying and preaching, I'll learn to be an insurance salesman. No need of representing a God that can't take care of me. If he can't do it, I'll take it as his word, get out of the ministry. Well, I must say, it's 46 years later. I've not missed any meals, and I haven't missed any house payments. And my children were clothed, and my cars were supplied. God who cannot lie, has promised you, I will supply all your needs according to my riches and glory. And just trust him, and you'll realize it. It'll be your testimony also.